Keeping in tradition to help entrepreneurs to start new business, I'm going to present you the top 100 emerging franchisees of 2021. In that series today, I'm going to present the fifth opportunity, Virohan. Virohan is an edtech company committed to provide progressive career to youth in the healthcare sector. Virohan aims to create career to the youth in the healthcare sector. Virohan aims to create India's largest professional healthcare training company with a corporate team of 60 plus and centers across 5 states. Virohan is committed to solve a critical problem that India is facing, that is, a shortage of technically skilled workforce for low and mid level jobs. There is a huge skill gap in the workforce across sectors, forcing youth to compromise on their aspirations and income. Virohan has a several marketing aligned paramedical and healthcare courses which lead to job in healthcare sectors. Virohan caters to students of age of 18 to 25, provide diploma of various courses like operating theatre technical courses, medical lab technical, radiology technical, hospital administration technical, and many other courses. Virohan is a funded trained partner of NSDC and a member of UNICEF. Virohan has placement attached to more than 650 hospitals and diagnostic centers. Today, we have Ms. Suparna Dasgupta, Partnership Director of Virohan. Hi Suparna, welcome to webinar of Franchise Bazaar.
Hi Shobha, thank you so much for having me and thanks for the great introduction.
Thank you, Suparna. Suparna, I would like to introduce yourself. Please tell us more about yourself to our viewers.
Sure, absolutely. Once again, thanks for having me and thank you for selecting Virohan to be number 5 out of 100. I'm actually a very diehard healthcare industry person. I've had over 10 years of experience in healthcare. I've worked across companies like J&J Medical, as well as Medtronic, as well as Deloitte Consulting, while consulting for healthcare clients. My parents are actually academicians, so they're actually educators. So this Virohan was the most perfect opportunity for me because it was the combination and the intersection of healthcare and education, and that's very, very strongly entrenched in my blood. So really, really good to be here.
Yeah, thank you. I think you have a strong knowledge on this industry, and I think you are the right person now who can, answer all the queries of our clients who are interested in taking Virohan.
Absolutely.
Introduce Virohan to my clients. Just tell us what is Virohan, what is the background of Virohan. I want you to tell more about Virohan.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Let me start by just talking a little bit about how we started the company. So the founders, Kunal Dudeja, Nalin Saluja, and Archit Jaiswal, 3 of them were friends, but more importantly, they all were from traditional industries. So they had family businesses in steel and automotives and retail. So their background was very much in traditional industries. They started over time seeing a lot of saturation. So they started seeing the impact of technology disrupting all these industries. So what they wanted to do was actually create a future-ready, recession-proof business that they could basically run. So they wanted to make sure that they would do that, and that is the genesis of Virohan, which is a ed tech healthcare company. It's completely, it's just future-ready, it's recession-proof, and it's in the right place. So I think to just explain a little bit, Virohan actually, as you mentioned rightly, it's in the intersection of healthcare and education. Healthcare, as we all know, is growing significantly in India, and it's the one sector that wasn't touched during COVID as well, due to the increase in demand for vaccination, increase in demand for lab testing, increase in demand for COVID patients. So basically, healthcare has been growing about 24% year on year. It was the 5th largest employer just 2 years ago, and now it's the 3rd largest employer. So we definitely wanted to tap in on this growth. EdTech, similarly, you would have seen, has been exploding in the last 1 year or so. Technology and enabled education services is the future of India as well as globally. So this is actually the right sector to be in. And as it rightly says on the slide, it is a $78 billion market opportunity. So we just wanted to make sure that we had a stake in that $1 billion market opportunity. And that is, why we're encouraging our partners also to come on board, because it is indeed a significant opportunity. I think, Shobha, I think it'd be good to explain, and I think you've given a great introduction, but what is Virohan, right? And you've given a great introduction. We are an NSDC certified and funded ed tech company that trains students to be paramedics. And paramedics, again, just as you mentioned, OT technicians, lab technicians. But it's important to kind of understand the healthcare landscape a little bit, just to give context, right? So in the healthcare landscape workforce, doctors are only about 10%, right? Nurses are about 15 to 20%. Hospitals and healthcare providers are run by technicians. The paramedics form 70% of the workforce. Now, you would have been, and this is completely out in the public domain, there are a lot of statistics around it. There is currently over 6 million plus demand supply gap for technicians, which means that there's 6 million less technicians currently employed in hospitals than we actually need in India. So this is a critical need for us, and that is what Virohan wants to do, is plug that very critical need, right? I think that's at the overview, that is the main background from where Virohan was coming from. I
Yes.
think the second thing is, sorry, go ahead.
No, no, no. Yeah, so Virohan is bridging that gap because in this COVID situation, I think there is a very needed skilled force is required for all the people there, and
Exactly.
there is a lot of opportunity out there, as you have mentioned very nicely. You gave us the statistic numbers. I think that's so. Why should entrepreneur choose Virohan? Why is it such a great idea? Why should he take Virohan franchising?
I think one thing about, again, background is healthcare is an extremely regulated industry. Healthcare education is, again, very regulated and specialized. While it's growing and there's a lot of demand for it, it's not the easiest sector to sort of get into. You definitely need the right partner in order to be able to tap into this sector successfully, right?
Yeah.
I think the three key things about Virohan is that Virohan, definitely we set it up to cater to this huge market, but what we did was we made sure that we created and we developed an end-to-end plug and place solution which would enable us and our partners to successfully cater to the demand. So our end-to-end technology, our end-to-end plug-and-play solution is basically catering to student mobilization all the way to training delivery, all the way to certification, right? So we want to help our partners every step of the way, right? Let me tell you a little bit about why is a great partner for you, right? I think there are three key reasons, and anybody who is even in the education sector or even in the healthcare sector would know. Number one, we need to COVID proof our business, right? I think everybody has been education companies and education training institutes, coaching institutes, colleges, they've seen locked doors, right? Even with a lot of retail, a lot of space is just locked up because these businesses are not COVID proof. We made sure that what we did with our end-to-end tech solution was that we developed a My Classroom kit, which was both something that you can use in the class to teach in an interactive manner. So we call that smart learning, to make our classrooms smart. But it's also something that is completely flexible and it can go online when you need. It's app-based learning for students and coaches, and basically enables you to go from the classroom setting to the online setting as soon as you get hit with a lockdown, as soon as you get hit with any sort of regulation. So I think that's just in the current climate with COVID cases rising again, a lot of businesses are going to be again worried right now. So one thing is, Virohan, we don't worry right now. Like, it's fine for us. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I think the second thing is, Shobha, again, in education, right? And my parents are the best people to tell you this because they're both professors in JNU and Delhi University. Teachers are the most important thing. Teachers determine the success of a student,
Of course.
right? Exactly. Now, teachers are also very hard to find, right? Teachers are also very hard to retain, right? And what happens usually, even in universities and so on and so forth, is that, the faculty is great. And then when the faculty leaves, the institute they go and join, that one becomes most popular. We wanted to make sure in healthcare, this is even more relevant, right? Because it's so specialized, it's so technical, the subject matter, that it's not easy for you and I to teach it. What Virohan did was realize this, and we realized that this would be the one biggest challenge to scalability. And what we did was we made sure that we created a technology solution that would help you not need a subject matter expert. So, for instance, the app based solution we've developed essentially will help the teacher teach. All the content is digitized. It's in the form of short videos. We take care of all examinations and assessments. Again, they're digitized and they're real time. So for instance, if you and I were taking a quiz in a classroom, we would see our performance. So imagine if I failed and you passed, that performance would be right up there. The teacher gets guides constantly. The teacher will get guides on their app. What students are likely to ask, what are the doubts students are likely to ask. They'll get guides on their app in terms of when to pause a video. They'll get guides on their app in terms of what group activity to do. So basically, Shobha, at the end of this, you and I, or anybody who's a college graduate in science, you and I can teach a Virohan class, and it will be as good as if a professor taught it who was from Ames. And this actually has been developed and created with partnership from doctors in Ames. Our head of content is Dr. Anurag Shahi. He's an MBBS, he's an MD, he's a PhD from Ames. He heads the team. We have a great panel of 20 doctors who've created all this content. So literally, essentially, you're in an Ames classroom, but maybe it's being, sort of facilitated by you or me. And I
Okay.
think the final thing, Shobha, I think, and again, I don't want to keep going on, is another thing that in education to be successful, you do need to offer the right course.
Yes.
In healthcare, again, not every course is in demand, not every job is in demand. One thing which is unique about Rohan is that we understand this. And, again, the founders had run training centers to actually have learned this. They've learned all the pain points. So we've created a demand algorithm which basically crawls the web to understand what jobs are in demand in what geography. So
Oh,
for instance, Shobha, like, I mean, of course, we obviously saw a huge job demand like in MLT medical lab technician during COVID. But for instance, Shobha, for instance, if you were in Delhi right now, right? And you're starting a training center, okay? And you're like, okay, what courses do I offer? I want to make sure that I'm breaking even. I want to make sure that many students come. We will tell you that imaging maybe not be the best idea for you right now. There is some saturation in the imaging market. So that's another thing that's going to be really helpful for you.
okay.
And finally, I think, I mean, if you like flip to the next slide, and I think it's there and you mentioned it, we do have partnerships with over 650 hospitals, which will offer placement support. The second thing is we have some of these great certifications and partnerships, which is very important, again, because it's healthcare, right? It's even more important. So NSTC, of course, we also have a partnership with Indian Medical Association. We also a training partner for GE, training partner for Siemens. These big names matter a lot more in healthcare and education than they do in other sectors. Um, it's very important to be aligned with credible partners,
Yes.
with
So
people
overall,
we trust.
you are giving a world-class product with everything in hand. Where an entrepreneur, he starts Virohan franchisee. It is, easy go for him to start his business and never have to worry on any situation. Maybe even COVID, whatever situation comes, your support also will be there. And anyway, the back end of this product, Virohan is also so strong. I don't think so there will be any problem, right, Suparna?
Shobha, absolutely. I mean, I can guarantee that. It's actually, I'll be honest, I'm not even doing justice to it. It's something that you have to see to believe. To be very honest, it's something you need to experience. You need to go to a Virohan classroom, really experience it, download the app. The app's like right there on the screen.
Yes.
Download the My Career app, try it out. You'll see the content, you'll see the gamification. We've involved gamification. You'll see that this is the see, it's important for success because student word of mouth is so important.
Yes.
So
Yes.
in education, if the student hates the education, he's going to tell 25,000 other people, especially with
Yes.
social media. So you
Yes.
can understand the importance of having a good quality product in order to make your business
Yes.
successful.
Of
And
course.
that's what we aim to offer.
So, what is the investment, Suparna? So now we know that Virohan is a world-class product, and an entrepreneur is interested. That he feels, he's interested in taking this franchisee. But what is his investment? How much should he invest? What is the money involved in this? What is the returns he will get? Can you please tell us more about this?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's a critical question. So let me address that. We do look for you to have space of about 2,000 square feet. The reason this is because we like I mean, the idea is to bifurcate it into 3 classrooms, right? And that will optimize your capacity utilization. The investment is broken down into, so, and the investment varies, Shobha, because it depends. Some of our clients and some of our partners had their own space when they started out. Others didn't really have their own space. They started renting space. So the investment matters, right? The
Okay.
investment breakup for CapEx is essentially, whether you have space or not. So basically getting the place, getting the whole, classroom set up together, the architecture, the civil. The second big cost head here is, sort of branding. And again, it's not significant, but again, you need the signage, you need the branding, you need something that makes a child, a student feel engaged when they're in a Virohan classroom. And I think the third key component again is basically furniture, of course, but IT, right? It's an extremely, again, for the best quality experience, you need lease line connection. So the investment can vary somewhere between 25 lakhs to 32 lakhs, depending on whether you have the space and whether you have the requirements already laid out. Um, I think that's pretty much on the high level. In the OpEx, your operating expenses will be basically you will have to develop a team. We are looking for execution partners. See, we've seen 3x growth ourselves, and now we want execution partners who are also going to be, sort of experiencing that growth journey with us, but we want them to execute. Okay, because this is a scalable model, and we're making sure that we equip them with everything they need, but they need to be able to execute. And for that, they need a team, right? So a small team of, facilitators. Again, it could be people like you and me who don't need major teachers, faculty from, sort of hospitals or anything. But teachers, you need, sort of a placement coordinator. You need some people who can help with student mobilization. It's good for you to have experience in student mobilization, right? So these are kind of your operating expenses, which would be salaries, marketing, and again, IT and electricity and so on and so forth. And so that can come to something like about 3 lakhs a month to 4 lakhs a month, again, depending on whether you have rent also or not.
So on an overall, to give an overall look, if an entrepreneur has this 200 square feet of 2000 square feet space with around 25 to 32 lakhs of investment, he can think of starting Birohan, right?
Yeah, he can. And Shobha, let me add one point to that, I think, which is very important because investment as a number on its own means nothing.
Yeah.
What really matters is, I mean, I think you have it on your slide here as well. How much can I earn per month, right? So let me talk a little bit about the earning opportunity for somebody who partners with us. Right now, if you have 3 classrooms, and I'm going to give you a little bit of example, okay? So Shobha, just imagine you are person A, you're training center A, and I'm training center B, okay? And I'm a Virohan training center, right? So Shobha, if you have 3 classrooms currently, you can accommodate about 25 to 30 students in each of your classroom, right? So you
Yes.
can have 90 students in a classroom for 1 year, for a 1 year course, right?
Okay.
For a Virohan classroom, because of the way that we've developed the product and the pedagogy and the teaching, we can actually make sure that the child optimizes the learning experience so that you can run 2 batches in a day.
Okay.
Okay. So now that one classroom that I have, I'm training center Virohan, I will have 30 in the morning and then 30 students in the evening batch, right? So 60 per classroom. And
Okay.
then I will now another thing about, so 60 per classroom times 3 is 108. Now, another unique thing about Virohan is that what we believe firmly is that we believe that students need to do practical on the job, right? And this is based on significant feedback from many hospitals, from many doctors who say that essentially give them the technical training, bring them here. We will teach them how to do this. We will teach them on the job. Let them not learn in a lab, no matter how fancy your lab or operation theater setup is, no matter how it never compares to a hospital,
Yeah.
right? So as a result, basically what will happen is that these students will go for internship. So now at the end, I can actually start 3 more batches. I can start, sorry, 6 more batches in those classrooms. So my potential, my maximum potential, again, this is not the most realistic figure for your first year, maybe it's for your second year or your third year, but it's 360 students. Now,
Okay.
360 students, exactly, times 70,000 is about 2.5 crore,
Yes.
right? Let's say, again, you would need some startup time and so on and so forth. So you can take a conservative number of 2 crores, for
Okay.
which the revenue share, again, there's a revenue share percentage, which is 35% us, 65% them, but still you have something like over 1.5 crores earning potential as an average.
I think it's
Now,
a
let me
huge
give
value.
you one more number, which is even if, even if God forbid, and we believe that genuinely this has been seen. Our Nagpur center makes 4.5 crores a year, so we've seen this is tried and tested. Our Yamuna Vihar partner broke even in 6 months. But even if, for instance, there are challenges, you would be able to break even just with 60 students over a year. So just 5 students a month, 12 months in a year, you'll still break even.
I think so. At least in the first year, if he does so much, maybe in the coming years he will reach to the point of 1.5 crores, whatever you have given the
Absolutely.
figures he might reach. Yes, I agree with that. Thank you, Supan. I think it was a very clear financial picture for my entrepreneurs who are thinking of doing the investment. So when now we understood what is Virohan, we understood the investment part. So I want to know, will Virohan is anybody can take Virohan and do the franchisee, can do the business, or do you have any particular education background, skill, anything which you have set where these can become our partners? Do you have something like that? Who is a good fit?
So, it's a really great question, and I really like. I appreciate that you've asked this. It's a fair question. Now, I think the main thing is that we do look for a certain kind of partner, and the reason is that it is because it has to be a win-win, and we understand that, right? At the end of the day, we're not really making money by selling a franchise, right? Like, it needs to be a win-win. It needs to be a long-term relationship. It needs to be a long-term earning potential, right? So as a result, what we've noticed is that we do feel it's beneficial when you partner with, say, an education player, or if you're not an education player, if you bring on an education player, so somebody who owns a college, someone who owns a training institute. So we currently have a partner in Raipur. He heads the Royal College of Pharmacy. Now, I'll tell you how this is beneficial. About 10,000 students apply to Royal College of Pharmacy for a B-Pharm program. Only 2,000 get in. So
Yes.
now he owns both Virohan as well as Royal College of Pharmacy. So you can just imagine the demand for Virohan is those 8,000 remaining students. So it makes his life really easy. It doesn't require too much for him to mobilize students because it's simply like in one door, and into the other
Got
door.
it. Got it.
So I think we do look for that. And of course, we look for you to be growth driven. We definitely want you to be hungry, to tap into this potential, but we definitely want you to be impact driven. Like, we want you to appreciate the quality of education we're providing. We want you to care about students, and we want you to care about giving students the gold standard of education. It's really critical. These students will be handling patient lives,
Yes, yes,
so
yes.
this is not a game. So basically, we want you to understand the importance of providing them with the best possible education,
Yes, of
right? And
course.
understanding, and even great internship experiences. So I think it's very important to us that you are quality conscious. Um, but yeah, we want you to be hungry. We want to make sure that we're the largest education, ed tech healthcare provider in India. So we want to make that happen. So we want you to be hungry. I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I got it. So anyone who is already involved in education sector, he would be a very right ideal
Ideal.
fit, so that he can initially only. I don't think he'll have any challenges for the enrollment.
So, I
And
mean, I think if I give you an example, like, just the difference would be, for instance, if it was an education player who already knew and had the experience and had the space and had, the requisite expertise, he would probably break even in 6 months. Vis-a-vis a retail player or somebody, you just have to be ready to do the work. You have to learn the hard way. Student mobilization is very different. So that looks like more of a 1 year break even solution. So the best thing we recommend is that even if you're not in the space, partner with somebody who can help you understand the space and who can help you execute in the space.
got it, got it. Yeah. So let's uh, let's talk a little bit about the industry. In this COVID is there. There are a lot of industry, food industry. There are many industries where opportunities are there, but because of 2020 pandemic, there are many industries which are actually suffering, where an entrepreneur who has invested and who have wanted to do some other business, and he has suffered somewhere. So how is it a great idea to invest in education franchisee? Can you put little light on education industry, Suparna? As your parents are from the background, I think you will know the best to answer. Yeah, please tell me.
Yeah, thank you, Shobha. No, that's again, that's a very important question. And you're right. I think the recession, the COVID has hit hospitality very hard. Retail's been hit quite hard, travel. Um, so I think one of the key things about investing in education, it's one of the things. We have a very booming, we have a booming growing population. The baby, we're still in the middle of our population growth, so we definitely know that we'll always have children. There'll always be students that we need to educate, and it's actually something important to know is that out of basically only seven, or out of the 70% of students who actually graduate or basically pass out of school, only 9% go to colleges, right? So it's actually really important to try to do something with the rest of these students so that they don't go into informal economy, right? That they don't have to become delivery partners. And with the major need that we have in healthcare right now, right? This critical need that we have in healthcare right now, and we have a need for OT technicians, we have a need for lab technicians. It's a respectable profession. It offers career trajectory, it offers growth. So it's the best thing to invest in education right now to make sure that these students go from point A to make sure that they have respectable careers. I think that being said, education in itself is not as COVID proof as we all thought. Colleges and schools are struggling to move
Yeah.
online. It's not as engaging. So the best thing is to be able to invest and get into an tech-enabled education business, which is what Virohan has done.
Yes.
We didn't even know, I think, initially that we were going to get hit by COVID, but we wanted to be future ready. And as a result, we're completely omni-channel. So that is the one thing. If you're investing in education, you feel free to invest in anything, but make sure that it leverages technology and that it is actually future proof. And that's one of the things that our competitors don't have currently. We have very few competitors, so to speak, not exact competitors, but our competitors are not tech enabled. And this has many implications, and one of them is the fact that their opex, as a result, their operating expenditure is much higher, so they're unable to scale. Okay, but Virohan, because it's so tech enabled end to end, we have operating tools to make your operations easier as well, and as a result of that, your operating expenses are much lower compared to anybody else that you would sign up with, right?
Yeah.
And I think the second key point is just that we have made our solutions scalable, which means that we're not looking for 100 partners to open 100 centers. We're looking for 20 partners to open 100 centers,
Okay.
or maybe 10 partners to open 100 centers. And we built our solution in that way that you build one, you can build another center, you can have another center, you can have another center. So it is actually built with that objective in mind. So again, like if you want to just build one center, then maybe another education franchise may be the right place for you. But if you want to build an education brand with us and build multiple training centers and sort of own a part of the education landscape, then Viral is the best opportunity for you.
Got it. I think you answered the second point also, which I wanted to
Yeah,
ask why Virohan is
I
the
just saw
best.
it on the slide.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So let's take some of the questions now where our clients, we have got some questions. I'll just read out those questions to you. So, what is the support provided by Virohan to the franchisees?
Sure. I think if I go into a detailed deep dive, right, number one is that you'll have a complete plug and play training solution,
Okay.
right? And healthcare is extremely regulated, so it's very difficult to develop that content. We've done it with the help of in-house doctors. And it's very difficult to develop that content, and it's very difficult to get that content certified, right?
Okay.
So the first thing you will have is a plug and play solution, which will enable you to have all the training content and take care of your training delivery. So all the content is digitized, it's interactive, it's gamified. We take care of all your examinations and all your assessments, right? So I think that's the first thing. And again, it's important to say that a certified training content in healthcare is not the easiest thing to come by today. The second thing is we definitely also provide your team with complete training and know-how. So that means that we have been in the education business, so you'll definitely have access to all our best practices. We will also help you because we have again, like I said, the tech stack that we have developed is end to end. So for student mobilization, we have an app which will help you optimize your operations for student mobilization. For sales and telecalling and counseling, we have an app. Again, that'll help you optimize your sales workflow, right? We for placements, the support that we could help you with, of course, and we would expect you to also get into partnerships with hospitals in your location, but we do have tie-ups with 650 hospitals pan India, including Fortis, BL Kapoor, SRL Labs, Dr. Lal. So for that, also we could definitely support you at least initially to help place your students. You will not face a challenge with that anyways because we have about 91% placement because you can understand there's so much demand. So I think these are the things. And then let me again go back to one point about the training is that our training platform is best in class. Our dropout rates are 6% compared to an industry average of 35 to 40%.
It's
This is not only important from a student point of view and an education point of view and quality, but it also means that you get money, right? If
product.
30% of your students are dropping out in any other training business, then basically your only revenue stream is only 70%. So
Yes.
you definitely need this, plus your word of mouth is bad, right? So it's not going to help you for success in the long term, right? So that's another thing. Of course, you'll always have access to all our partnerships with Indian Medical Association. You'll have access to our training partnership with GE, with Siemens Healthcare. And again, like you'll have a world-class product, both from a training perspective, content perspective, as well as operational excellence.
Fantastic. I think you are all set to, hold on to your partners to
You're
begin.
ready to start, pretty much. You don't have to take too much time. You'll be ready within, 2, 3 weeks, and you can get started.
So, how many franchisees currently you have? As I think you already mentioned about Raipur. So, can you give us a little more information? How many existing franchisees are there?
Yeah, we have about 8 centers pan India, and we've just started scaling up.
Mhm.
We've actually tried and tested our own model. So we have about 8 centers pan India across 5 states, as you mentioned, in Maharashtra, in Uttar Pradesh, in Chhattisgarh. We actually have been growing our business about 3x year on year
Okay.
even during this COVID time. So what we've decided now, because and then last year was COVID, so we weren't able to scale up the way because we were just not able to have conversations. But now with the lockdown easing a little bit and restrictions easing, at least hopefully,
Yes.
um, we are scaling up now. So our vision is to have over 160 centers in the next 1 year.
That's a fantastic thing. So there's another one question. What is the risk involved in taking the franchisees? Like any challenges in taking the
I think the key risk, again, like you will not face, I'll tell you the risks you won't face. You will not face the risks you would face if you were in a traditional business. You will not have a problem of demand. That is one of the major things. With the economy potentially slowing down, these are the two sectors you're never going to see a challenge with demand. So you're
okay.
never going to face a risk with market. The risk you could potentially face is again something where I kind of cautioned against. If you are not in the education business, you don't have significant experience mobilizing students, this could be challenging and this could increase your time to break even. But again, the best thing to counter that risk is to get somebody on board with you who could be an education partner, who can help you with that education, who can help you with that execution in your local area. But again, in terms of a risk, there are no risks that cannot be mitigated. It has to be about good planning. It has to be about having a vision. It has to be about putting the work in. You should be good to go.
I think that's right. Like there is in any business, there will be little things which are involved, and they'll have to be ready to take that challenge.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sorry. So, what is the geographical exclusivity you're giving? Like, uh,
It's a great question.
yeah,
That's a great
got a
question.
question from one of the entrepreneur here. So he wants to know what is the exclusivity you give, like geographically.
I'll have to take that offline. It depends and it varies.
Oh,
So, I mean, if you could provide my contact details, happy to connect on that and have a discussion. Again, it
oh,
varies. It's a bit tricky, but yeah. But there will be geographical exclusivity. But again, like it's a bit tricky. I'll have to take that offline.
and which locations are you open currently? Are you open pan India?
We have 8 centers pan India. We have three centers in Delhi NCR itself. We have a center in Meerut. We have a center in Raipur. We have a center in Nagpur.
So
We are starting a
you're
in
open for
Mumbai.
Pan India, even from South.
Yeah,
You're
pretty
open.
much. Yeah,
Okay. So people who are from even South India also can have an opportunity of taking their own franchisee then.
absolutely. We're looking, see, again, I think the best thing would be if you're part of the Hindi speaking belt. So
Okay.
that's another reason we're scaling up carefully. The content is in a combination of Hindi and English.
Okay.
So it's best for it to be in a place where local language is sort of Hindi/English. So
Okay.
that would be helpful. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So how soon can one start a franchisee? Like if he's ready now, he comes and meets you. Like from when he can start? We don't.
Tomorrow.
Okay. So everything
You
will
can
be
set them up. No, I mean, it'll take about it won't take long. I think that one thing we've done is, again, the solution is very scalable.
okay.
Um, it's extremely scalable. It's an extreme plug and play. You're ready to go. If you have the space, you
Okay.
have the inclination, you can get a team into place, you're ready to go. It should not take more than 1, 2 weeks if you're ready with the space and if you're ready with the intent, yeah,
So entrepreneurs there, so you don't have to wait for a long. If you're ready with the
not at all.
investment, you can start your Virohan franchises immediately, and all the support will be provided to you. Please visit www.franchisebazaar.com for more information about Virohan, and we would like to give you all the details. And stay connected. We are going to come back with more 95 opportunities in this 2021. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Suparna, for
Thank you. Thanks,
thank you.
Shova. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye.